I cheated on a partner with borderline personality disorder. Did I love her? Yes. Did I feel sorry about it? Yes. But I need to explain why it happened. Because when you love someone, it's not enough to make the relationship work. In my case, cheating became a way to escape the pain, humiliation, lack of trust, and the constant sight of your loved one harming herself and those close to her. This situation needs to be understood within the context of the story and history of the relationship with the person with BPD, as cheating was a result of the feelings and, more likely, a way to unconsciously escape reality and end things. First and foremost, I must be honest and say that the relationship with the person with BPD was doomed from the start, especially in my case because I wasn't even aware that personality disorders existed. I met a person with BPD who was fully aware of her condition but was not receiving treatment. Throughout the relationship, she never disclosed her borderline condition to me. I only learned about borderline personality disorder months after our separation, thanks to the videos and work of Professor Sam Vaknin. However, the personal case was so challenging and difficult to handle that anyone would understand that things were wrong. The entire relationship felt like it had no connection to who I am as a person. From my perspective, it seemed like she was with me just to hurt me. This needs to be illustrated with specific examples of her behavior to clarify. From the beginning, triggers emerged when she told me that her friends didn't like me. I couldn't understand this situation. I had only known the person with BPD for a day, and her friends, who had never met or talked to me, didn't like me. "Don't worry," she said. "They told me that you're not right for me, and I should cut you off, but I won't listen to them. I want to be with you." I felt relieved and grateful that she had trust in me and her own perspective too. Things between us, as with any individual with borderline personality disorder, escalated rapidly from the very beginning. We started spending time together at my place on the first day we met. She had the opportunity to travel extensively, so we decided that I would accompany her to another country for an extended trip to spend more time together. To make this happen, I had to save a considerable amount of money, which I successfully did, to enhance our time together and nurture our relationship. From my perspective, I felt that I was demonstrating respect for her and putting in a great deal of effort to sustain our connection. However, that's when I was introduced to the phenomenon known as splitting, which is a hallmark of borderline personality disorder. Enormous anger emerged, and I encountered a person who was completely opposite to the one I had seen in the initial days. In a relationship with a person with BPD, there are typically 4 stages. The first stage is the idealistic phase, marked by intense romance that can be compared to a classic literary novel, deep, emotional, and seemingly perfect. In just a matter of days, we transition to the second stage, which is occasional abuse. Splitting was introduced, and it occurred every 48 to 74 hours, 2 to 3 days. Enormous anger represented her fear of abandonment. She started accusing me of being with her just to leave her, cheat on her, or go back to an ex, even though I didn't have an ex, but these concerns seemed unimportant to her during the splitting phase. During this stage, extreme feminism emerged, with her labeling me as a representative of the male gender, accusing me of being a cheater, a rapist, a liar, and more. This stage typically lasted for 1 to 3 hours, during which every negative accusation was thrown at me. From the beginning, I had been open with her about some of my past experiences with women, a significant mistake, which she later used against me throughout our relationship. "I don't care about time," she always said. "Every past, present, and future is a potential source of pain. I interpret them all as a form of abandonment from you." Fortunately, after the splitting episodes, things returned to normal, and we enjoyed good times together. During our time together, I learned more about her past through the stories she shared. While her disclosures were limited, they were deeply troubling. She had suffered abuse as a child, escaped from her mother, discovered she was adopted, and revealed that I was her 27th romantic partner, despite being only 20 years old. I felt compassion for her, seeing her as someone who believed that everyone wanted to harm her. That's why I often took care of her like a small child, cooking for her, doing the laundry, and looking after her after nights out at bars and nightclubs. I later realized that mixing alcohol with the medication borderlines led to a severe panic she experienced during those times. On our first trip to another country, I asked her to be my girlfriend, and the result was another splitting episode. She claimed, "You're already supposed to be my boyfriend. You're just playing with me." We were transitioning between the second and third stages of the relationship with a borderline person, especially if they're untreated. The third stage involves increased anger, splitting becomes deeper, more intense, and with more significant anger, often bordering on the characteristics of a psychopath. During her splitting episodes, she always treated me as a moral criminal, accusing me of past and future potential wrongdoing. Like many individuals with borderline personality disorder, she displayed a strong sense of independence and self-focus, or at least wanted to appear that way. "I'm continuing with my travels, I want to be independent, and I want to do my own thing," she said. I assured her, "Of course, I respect your freedom, and you can be yourself and express your desires." However, the fact that I had to be physically far from her, she would accuse me of reverting to my natural state as a man, a cheater and abuser, predicting that I would betray her and humiliate her. I suggested that if she didn't trust me, she could come back and stay with me. "You can't tell me what to do," she asserted. "I'm independent, and I'll do as I please." Finally, after navigating through multiple splitting episodes over just a few days, we managed to reach an understanding of our relationship and how to sustain it. We decided to reunite after her travels even though our relationship had often been a long-distance relationship due to her frequent traveling. This is a common trait of individuals with borderline personality disorder, which I now understand better. BPD individuals often struggle to stay in one place, preferring to be in new locations to escape their mental pain and feel a bit more at ease with themselves. Many would envy her life, which could include a family, relationships, financial stability, top-notch education, friends, and comfortable homes. However, she rejected them all. She distanced herself from her family, damaged her relationships and friendships with splitting and other BPD traits, spent substantial amounts on parties and alcohol, undermined her education through substance abuse, and constantly sought reasons to change her location. When we officially entered the third stage of our relationship, marked by continuous and intense abuse, I began experiencing panic attacks. At first, I endured splittings that contained all manner of hateful ideologies, such as anti-capitalism and extreme feminism, blaming me for every misfortune and expressing her hatred for capitalism and men. She decided to return to her home country, specifically her father-in-law's house, and started working 2 jobs simultaneously. While I supported her, it was bewildering to endure hours of hate and then watch her serve a system she professed to loathe, in the home of a man she accused of being responsible for her fractured identity. She always found it natural to relocate, but every attempt I made to connect with her on a deeper level seemed to result in further distancing. Once again, we were physically apart, and I wanted to maintain some form of connection, such as through phone calls. "I don't speak on the phone," she said. "We can only text." "Okay," I replied, "if that's what you prefer." However, the splitting continued, even though I had done nothing to provoke it. BPD individuals can be triggered by the slightest things, such as the absence of emojis in the "I love you" text, leading to new splitting episodes because she doesn't like the tone of how this message sounds. Every time I attempted to get close to her, she pushed me away. One example was when she mentioned getting another tattoo. There was never any interest in my opinion, it was always just a statement that she was going to do it or that she had done it. She also changed her hairstyle and hair color. When I asked for a photo to see her, she responded, "I don't take photos for men." This behavior is a common trait of someone with BPD. There is no sense of individuality, and for her, there is no recognition of a singular person. Everyone is seen as a representation of mankind, an abstraction. Particularly when we were physically distant from each other, she entered an out of sight, out of mind state common to those with BPD, meaning that when she couldn't physically see or touch me, I ceased to exist for her. However, she later posted her photo on social media, seeking the approval of others to boost her self-esteem. I even went as far as learning her mother language to express my love for her, but in response, I received, "Stop speaking it, it doesn't feel like you." She refused to speak it with me. As a result, more splitting episodes took a toll on me, and that's when I began to experience panic attacks. They were so severe that I had trouble breathing, and I needed her support. But her response was, "I have to work. I can't talk with you." At that stage, the act of cheating occurred. Did I want it? No. Did I have feelings for the girl I cheated with? No. Did I still love my BPD partner? Yes. But I felt the need to escape from the emotional pain I was experiencing. The act of cheating was brief, but it was my attempt to understand the reason behind the splitting and anger, stemming from the neglect by my favorite person. After that incident, some time passed, and my borderline partner came back into my life. We had some good moments together, but the splitting behavior increased, accompanied by other BPD traits such as manipulation. She began speaking negatively about my friends, portraying them as bad influences on me. She even insinuated that they had intentions to be with her and that they were conspiring against me to create drama in our lives. Despite my reputable job, she tried to make me believe that I didn't like my job, didn't have enough money, and needed to change it to be with her. Another BPD trait that emerged was her sudden change of mind. After a splitting episode, she expressed the desire to be the central focus of my life and future. However, when I told her that this could only happen if she treated me the same way, as she had previously stated that her studies and career were her top priorities, we argued for hours. Eventually, she changed her mind and declared, "Now you are my priority." It felt like everything was in vain, as life plans could reverse in a matter of hours, and the relationship was filled with unpredictable drama. Her emotional neglect towards me continued when she had to return to her university. We decided to travel together to the country where she studied, and I spent an entire month's salary on tickets and accommodation. I had to save the equivalent of 2 more salaries to afford my stay there with her. I took a direct flight, but she chose to fly separately, a day earlier, even spending more money, under the pretext that she needed more time to arrange things. In reality, it was another form of neglect toward me. During my first visit to the country, I had a close friend who offered to pick me up from the airport and help me get settled. I was grateful for this assistance, but for my borderline partner, it became another opportunity for a new splitting episode. She felt jealous and accused me of wanting to be with my friend, suggesting that my friend was like the perfect girlfriend for me. While together with my BPD partner, she believed she was doing everything for me and introduced me to her friends, which I appreciated. However, there was another form of neglect because when a person with BPD is in a social setting, they often become the center of attention, the most loving, cheerful, and energetic person in the room. It's like watching a performance, and at times, I couldn't even hold a conversation with her because she was engaging with everyone and basking in the social spotlight. However, when we returned home alone, another splitting episode would occur, and they escalated to a dangerous level. Initially, she would scrutinize my social media, especially the women in it. At one point, her anger grew to the extent that she expressed a desire to harm them. It was a terrifying sight to witness from someone you love, as she appeared to be acting like a psychopath. The most alarming moment came when she interpreted my close friends as potential sources of cheating and literally screamed that she wanted to harm them. Perhaps it was for the best that this was our last experience of splitting before our separation. I'm uncertain how I would have coped with the escalating anger and its consequences. Shortly after my borderline partner discovered the cheating, the consequences were immediate and severe. She entered a state of splitting, seeing me as a criminal. She began screaming, destroying my personal property, and even using physical force against me. From that moment, I became the ultimate evil in her eyes. She channeled all her energy into harming and destroying me. She started texting all my friends and family, portraying me as a dangerous and evil person, urging them to cut ties with me due to the harm I had caused her. I attempted to contact her to explain, but nothing could alter the perspective of a borderline individual who had turned you into the embodiment of all evil. In her own words, she was actively searching for me in town with the intent to harm me, even resorting to spiritual rituals to inflict more harm. Out of respect, I won't disclose the offensive and hurtful things she said. This marked the fourth and final stage of a relationship with a borderline person, where they flip from viewing you as the favorite person to seeing you as the enemy. After our separation, she returned to her natural borderline circle, engaging in casual relationships with various partners and eventually relocating to a new country. Because of her tendency to be out of sight, out of mind, she likely had difficulty remembering anything about our past. I would recommend watching Sam Vaknin's video on the topic called No Identity Without Memory, as it sheds light on the possibility that a borderline person may create their own memories to establish some form of identity. This is my personal story, and I've skipped over more than half of the instances of splitting. I won't even go into the instances where she initiated splitting for reasons as trivial as me being a supporter, in her own words, of Johnny Depp and that I am with her so I can vote for Donald Trump, and she felt the need for revenge related to Amber Heard and the political world. Now, if someone were to ask me whether I regret the cheating, I would say yes. However, even if I could turn back time, I wouldn't repeat that path. The relationship was doomed from the beginning. I lied not because I wanted to but because a borderline person often cannot cope with reality. The reality was missing throughout our entire relationship. I was misled from the very first day because I had no knowledge of borderline personality disorder. For me, this has been the most significant life lesson, highlighting the importance of reality and true love. At some point, it felt like I had lost myself, but the truth is that I found myself. Making mistakes is human, but the key is learning from them and understanding the lessons they offer. In her own words, she told me, "I have never loved you, that was just an obsession. You were just a number 27 in my life. 2 months after you I am on my number 35. No one dared to cheat on her, everyone had returned to her ex. I feel that during our relationship the hurt was the only thing that she has strived for." Borderline individuals often cannot learn from their mistakes, they escape and start anew, only to repeat the same behaviors and traits. I'm not proud of my mistakes, but I am proud of the lessons I've learned. Love is not about destruction, it's about creation. Only those who can create, sustain, and nurture love can truly possess it.